Number 8. Kodak Black. Bill Kahan Capri, better known as Kodak Black, has a lengthy history of legal troubles dating at least as far back as 2015. That year, he was arrested for kidnapping, assault, robbery, driving without a license, battery, and various other crimes in Pompano Beach, Florida, at the tender age of 18. In February the following year, he was accused of assaulting a woman in a South Carolina hotel room. Then 2 months later, the young rapper caught a gun charge after allegedly throwing a .40 caliber Glock out his car window during a police chase. A string of steady arrests followed. While on house arrest in early 2017, Kodak Black was charged with violating the conditions of his release. He was also accused of assaulting a bartender several months earlier, which impacted the decision to take him back into custody. As a consequence for his alleged violations, he spent more than 3 months in prison. The young star got in trouble yet again in early 2018, this time for posting an Instagram video of himself surrounded by what appeared to be weapons and drugs. To make matters even worse, his young child was nearby. Authorities charged Kodak Black with being a felon in possession of a gun, possession of cannabis, child neglect, and 2 counts of parole violation. He went back to prison for a few more months before regaining his freedom yet again. This time, however, it seemed as though the rapper was determined to turn his life around. He earned his GED and managed to get released without any probation. Unfortunately, just months later in mid-2019, he was nabbed at the Canadian border for trying to enter the US with a gun. He was sentenced to 3 years and 10 months in federal prison, but he only served a portion of it thanks to former President Donald Trump, who commuted his sentence in January 2021. However, Kodak Black still had some old charges to clean up and continued to catch more. His most recent brush with the law came in mid-2022 when he was arrested on felony drug charges. Number 7. Gunna and Young Thug. In late 2012, the Atlanta-based rappers Gunna and Young Thug, along with several co-conspirators, allegedly started a violent gang called the Young Slime Life, or YSL. Members of the criminal enterprise were said to have committed numerous carjackings, shootings, and murders over the course of a decade. The gang has known ties to the Bloods and is infamous for its brutal acts of violence. In an 88-page indictment from 2022, prosecutors accused the men of targeting other high-profile rappers. They also claimed that the rappers were already established gangsters by the time they broke onto the music scene. Young Thug, whose legal name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, and Gunna, whose legal name is Sergio Kitchens, were charged with violating the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act, RICO. While Young Thug's lawyer maintains that his client committed no crime whatsoever, Gunna entered an Alford plea, which means that he maintained his innocence but admitted that prosecutors most likely had enough evidence to secure a conviction against him. As a result, he was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, with credit for time served and the remainder of the term suspended. Gunna must also perform 500 hours of community service, including 350 hours which will be spent talking to young men about the dangers and consequences of gang violence. In a statement, he made it clear that he has not cooperated or agreed to testify against any other defendants. Young Thug and about a dozen others are slated to go on trial in early 2023. Number 6. Shine. Moses Michael Levi Barrow was born in Belize in 1978, but he moved to New York City as a young man to pursue a rap career under the name Shine. He became famous in the late 90s and performed with numerous multi-platinum artists, including Lil Wayne, Usher, Maze, Notorious B.I.G., and Puff Daddy. But just as his career began to take off, Shine found himself entangled in a legal battle. It stems from a shooting he was involved in during the early morning hours on December 27, 1999, while in the company of Sean Puffy Combs and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez. The trio were at a packed club in Manhattan when an argument broke out between Combs and a man named Matthew Scar Allen. According to some witnesses, all 3 men drew guns, and Shine fired 3 bullets, injuring 3 bystanders. Another witness claimed that she saw both Shine and Combs shoot their guns. Shine was charged with criminal possession of a weapon, assault, reckless endangerment, and attempted murder, while Combs faced weapons-related charges. At the end of a 7-week trial, a jury acquitted Coombs of all charges. Shine, on the other hand, was only acquitted of attempted murder, but was still convicted of assault, reckless endangerment, and a gun charge. He received a 10-year prison sentence and ultimately served 9 years and some change before regaining his freedom. Even while behind bars, Shine was a highly revered member of the hip-hop community. He received many visits from record label representatives who were eager to sign him on, but he was unable to take advantage of the offers. This was due to a state law that prevents convicted criminals from profiting off of their publicity. In 2009, after he finished paying his debt to society, Shine was placed in a federal immigration detention facility while his lawyers and the government fought over his immigration status. While he was a valid green card holder, he never became a US citizen. After being denied entry into the UK based on his status as a convicted felon, Shine was deported back to Belize, where he pursued a career in politics. He spent some time living in Jerusalem before returning to Belize, where he remains active in his political career and hopes to become the country's next Prime Minister in 2025. Number 5. Fetty Wap. Most people know Willie Jr. Maxwell II by his stage name, Fetty Wap. He was about to perform at Citi Field in Queens, New York in 2021 when FBI agents stormed the scene and took him away in handcuffs. The rapper, who hails from New Jersey, was accused of being a drug dealer in a major drug ring that was based out of Long Island. Fetty Wap was among 6 suspects charged in connection with the alleged drug ring, including a former corrections officer from New Jersey. The group supposedly trafficked and sold over 100 kilos of potentially deadly controlled substances, including cocaine, fentanyl, heroin, and crack cocaine. From mid-2019 to June of 2020, they reportedly sourced the drugs from the West Coast and moved them to New York and New Jersey, where they distributed the substances locally. While carrying out search warrants, law enforcement yielded around $1.5 million in cash. They also discovered several kilos of cocaine and heroin, as well as a cache of guns and ammunition. 9 days after the arrest, Fetty Wap posted a $500,000 bond and was released, but he was forced to wear an ankle monitor. He was also ordered to submit to regular drug testing and to surrender his passport. Unfortunately, he got arrested for violating the terms of his release when he allegedly threatened to kill someone over FaceTime while brandishing a weapon. Fetty was taken back into custody and was originally looking at life in prison if convicted of all the charges he faced. But he opted to work out a plea deal with prosecutors. Then in 2022, he pleaded guilty to a federal drug charge in exchange for a sentence of at least 5 years in prison. Based on sentencing guidelines, the recommended punishment will range between 7 and 9 years. His sentencing hearing is set to take place in early 2023. Number 4. A$AP Rocky. 34-year-old Rakim Myers, better known as A$AP Rocky, is a successful rapper, music producer, and record executive from New York City. He's also the romantic partner of famous singer Rihanna, as well as the father of her child. But every now and then, his achievements are interrupted by unfortunate events, including run-ins with the criminal justice system, dating back to 2006. In 2012 and 2013, A$AP Rocky was accused in 2 different assault cases, one of which landed him at the center of a civil lawsuit. The other case left him dealing with misdemeanor charges. In 2019, he was arrested for assault yet again in Sweden when a man named Mustafa Jafari accused the rapper of kicking, beating, and cutting him with broken bottles. Many noteworthy musicians and other celebrities were quick to support his release from custody and called for a boycott of Sweden to make their disapproval of the case known. He was ultimately given a suspended prison sentence and was fined $1,270. In early 2022, A$AP Rocky was arrested by the Los Angeles Police Department upon arriving in the city from a recent vacation with Rihanna. He was charged with assault with a deadly weapon in connection with a 2021 shooting that happened in Hollywood. Police seized several boxes of property from his house during a search warrant, and the case is ongoing. More recently, A$AP Rocky was among several artists who were victimized in a music leak of over 200 unreleased songs. As a result, he lost 2 of his songs, which is unfortunate, but definitely could have been worse, considering the fact that several other rappers lost as many as 20 records. Number 3. Takeoff. Kershnik Karibal, more commonly known as Takeoff, was a member of the rap trio Migos. After breaking onto the music scene in 2013, he became known as the group's best lyricist, something that his uncle and bandmate Quavo was quick to acknowledge. But he was unfortunate enough to be in the wrong place at the wrong time in late 2022 when the trio was sadly reduced to a duo. While attending a private party in Houston, Takeoff took a fatal bullet that authorities believe was meant for someone else. The rapper passed away when he was just 28 years old. In a statement, Police Chief Troy Finner described how the rapper was an innocent bystander during an argument over a dice game that turned violent, adding that, "We lost a good man." Finner said that Takeoff wasn't involved in the dice game or in the altercation that followed. Several weeks after his death, authorities charged 33-year-old Patrick Xavier Clark with murder. An alleged accomplice, 22-year-old Cameron Joshua, was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Thousands of people showed up at Takeoff's funeral to pay their respects to the young rapper, whose life was needlessly cut short over what sounds to many like a petty disagreement he had nothing to do with. Number 2. Vanilla Ice. The American rapper Robert Matthew Van Winkle, or Vanilla Ice, hasn't been talked about much in the news in the last couple of years, and the few times he has, it wasn't for good reasons. One notable incident happened in 1999 when he guest starred on the MTV show called 25 Lame, where viewers voted on the lamest music videos of all time. According to the script, the has-been rapper was supposed to smash a tape of his song Ice Ice Baby with a bat. But he didn't end it there. He began swinging at furniture and other objects. The show's hosts were clearly shocked. Vanilla Ice kept going at it until producers finally intervened and told him that he needed to stop. He made headlines for another outburst that was captured on camera in 2016 when he missed his flight from Atlanta to Nebraska and was denied access to the plane. In the video, he could be seen leaning over the counter and complaining loudly to a Delta Airlines employee. According to the person who recorded the tantrum, the gate had closed 10 minutes before Vanilla Ice arrived, but Ice claimed that he'd been sitting nearby for over an hour and that he didn't hear any calls to board the flight. A customer who witnessed this told the rapper that he should have paid more attention to the monitors that display the flight details, and he responded by telling the man to shut up, uttering several other profanity-riddled statements under his breath. Vanilla Ice later apologized for his outburst on Twitter, but also defended his behavior in the same post, stating, "Wrong action, but my point was right." He further explained that he was running on no sleep and lots of caffeine when the incident took place. Number 1. Nehemiah Harden. Known to his fans as Spot-'em Got-'em, 19-year-old Nehemiah Harden made headlines for reasons other than his music in 2022. He was arrested for speeding on a jet ski in a restricted speed zone off the Florida coast near Jacksonville. The young rapper was spotted doing S-turns and carrying out other dangerous maneuvers near anchored boats. According to an affidavit, Harden failed to cooperate with law enforcement when he realized an officer was trying to pull him over for a traffic stop. Instead, he allegedly sped away and continued driving erratically, swerving around boats and swimmers. He kept trying to flee even when the officer turned his lights and siren on and began chasing him. However, the police eventually caught up with Harden and charged him with eluding law enforcement and reckless operation. It wasn't Spot-'em Got-'em's first run-in with the law either. In 2017, he was charged with carrying a concealed weapon and grand theft auto in Duval County, Florida. Then in 2021, he was arrested on suspicion of pointing a pistol at a parking garage attendant in Miami. He became a crime victim later that year when he was struck in the hip during a drive-by shooting. Would you be willing to spend 10 years in prison in exchange for lifelong success and fame afterward? Or would you rather have a stable but simple lifestyle? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.